Here we go. Good morning, Astronomy 1020. Welcome to your first lecture with me. It's nice to see many of you here. I hope you guys will continue to do that. I can see that I've got about half of you sharing video with me, like you guys. Half of you who are not sharing video with me, like you a little less, but you know, okay, fine. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the trolls, because if I can't see you, I don't want to see you. Okay, now I'm just talking to the people that I can see. Those of you who are here, Vladimir has to go soon, and he asked me a question about the due dates of things. So let me pop that off right now before I forget. The idea is we are going to do a lab today after our lecture. It's lab 1. It's your first assignment for credit. Obviously, many people will be watching this after the show. Like Vladimir, you'll watch this video a little later in the day. It would be nice if the people who did the lab with me would turn it in right away, just so you don't forget. But for those of you who are watching later, hello, Amber, who are watching this one less troll, I consider that a victory, okay? Those of you who were watching later, I understand that you might have jobs and kids and chaos. I grade all of my papers for all of my classes on Sunday night. It is a terrible night for me, okay? I call it the Schmondays. It's really sad. It's the saddest day of my week. And so you have up until like Saturday to be safe. And because you know I'm not waking up early, you probably even have Sunday morning. But sometime like early Sunday evening, I'm going to get grumpy and I'm going to drag myself over the computer and I'm going to grade all your stupid papers, and then it's too late. So does that make sense, Vladimir? You actually have a few days to get this in. But I would recommend that you do not procrastinate, because remember, we have another class on Thursday, right? And we're going to do our homework at the end of that class. If you read my little intro passage, I'll explain all of this again in our preamble today. But my only point, Vladimir, is you don't want to wait until Saturday, because then you'll have the homework and the lab to do, and it just tends to screw people up. You know what I mean? You got to just stay on top of things. It's not hard to do these assignments, because here's why. Psst, I'm going to do them with you. And that means all you got to do is show up and just like astronomy TV, follow the bouncing ball. Everything's going to be great. Okay. So just don't, but you have to make the time to either be here or to watch it. One of the reasons I think coming live is cool is it's kind of like social peer pressure for us all to stay on. It keeps me, you know, sober for a couple hours, and it keeps you guys showing up and getting your homework done. And all of those things are good for us. Okay. So, and I shouldn't have said that on record. Anyways. Okay. So, before we talk about anything in this class, Vladimir, I hope that answers your question, okay? Let's take a look at some business. How many of you, show of hands, have done this Zoom class thing before? I'm assuming many of you did this last semester. Okay, so you kind of know the drill. I've got some of my own. Wait, Abby, did you raise your hand? Is this your first one? Oh, sorry, I missed it. I can't hear you.
All my classes they didn't have like meeting times or Zoom meetings that last year, so this I haven't really
okay, cool. Well, I'm hoping you haven't gone through that you're really going to enjoy this. It's funny, the things that we took for granted before all this crazy COVID stuff went down. Who'd have thunk how important it was to actually be in a room together to kind of get this kind of thing done. You know what I mean? That's something I wouldn't have understood before this. So hopefully, Abby, you'll be enjoying this or find it useful. Let me share my screen with you. And what we're going to do is just orient you guys really quick. I'm guessing you all know how to use Blackboard a little bit. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have found any of this. I'm going to be talking today at some point about the class syllabus and the class schedule. Can everyone see my mouse? I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I'm a little rusty here. Okay. So I'm going to open up and right click on this, because at some point I want to talk to you about no, I don't want to save it. I want to look at it. Open a new. That's weird. Is that how it is? Oh, that's so lame. Okay, fine. If you're going to be like that, I'll just have to get the original file in. I used to be able to just open it up from that tab. What is this? Spring 2021. We're Astronomy 1020. Syllabus. You guys might want to open these up at some point or you can just watch the screen and you'll follow mine. So there's the syllabus and schedule. I usually have not complete lecture notes, but I have like a rough Roman numeral outline. You know those cheesy Roman numeral outlines that we used to have to do? I kind of made one of those for all of our different lectures. I don't want to do that. And then I've also got PowerPoint slides that I provided for you. But you guys can just kind of watch what I'm doing here. But if you want the materials that I'm going to be showing you, I just wanted you to know that they're all available there. As well as today's lab, here's an important tip. Today's lab is on powers of 10 and measurement and some calculator exercises. I've actually provided the worksheet that you need. I already have it open here. Oh no, don't tell me I closed that. Fudge. I thought I had that open. Oh, here it is, yeah. If you guys have a printer, a smooth move would be to print this out sometime during the lecture so that come lab time, you'll be good to go. I provided that with you. I've printed out one for myself. However, those of you who are digitally inclined can probably actually use the PDF and write onto the PDF with like a, you know, like a writing program. I don't know. Some of you might know how to do that. I have figured it out in the past. I could try to show you. So you might actually be able to write on the PDF and then send me the PDF. But how many of you have printers? Let's just see what I'm working with here. That's pretty good. Not everybody, but most people. So Vladimir, Brian, Amber, we'll have to figure out something for you. Worst comes to worst, you can copy this out by hand, but I wanted to give you a heads up that in 1.5 hours from now, we're going to need something like this. All right. Before we start talking any nonsense about powers of 10 or astronomy, I first want to start off by asking you guys a question just to see what the heck you know. Function F5. Suppose I showed you this slide here and I asked you a simple question. What's the difference between astronomy and astrology? Does anyone know? Andrew, you might know, so you should pipe down and let these guys give it a shot.
All right.
Here. Well, Andrew, you hold off.
All right.
Yeah, Vladimir, tell me.
Yeah, so astrology assumes that the position and the movement of stars and planets directly affects the actions, mood, and sometimes fate of people on Earth.
Beautiful.
And astronomy is a branch of some say it's a branch of physics that is concerned with studying those planets and stars and their properties in terms of numbers.
Yeah. Vladimir, you kind of hit that one out of the park. Although, you know, I'm a little biased as an astronomer. Is astronomy a branch of physics, or is physics a branch of astronomy? Who has the greater domain? After all, isn't my laboratory the entire universe? Them and their force laws. No, I know. No, this is a silly question.
But, the Earth is in the universe.
Let's actually, Vladimir did a damn good job on that. I'm going to, so right now you guys are in gallery mode and I can see all your little faces. I am going to go for the purpose of the video into what I call lock speaker mode. And some of you might find that helpful when we do some note taking. Now, I'm not going to explain this a little bit later, but I've tried to design this course so that you could do it without purchasing any books. You could really just follow along, and I think it would be a really good idea for you guys to take notes old school style. So when I write stuff on the board, you should probably write that stuff on the board. To help with that, if you don't know how to use Zoom, up in the corner there, up there, there's a little view button and you can go to speaker view. And then if you double click my face, it'll lock on me no matter who is talking. Now, can you guys read this welcome to AS1020 sign? Everyone read that pretty good? Okay, sometimes when the internet connection gets crappy, this can be tough to read. And there's contrast issues too. So let me turn my lights down. It really makes you appreciate like the need for a good film studio for this stuff. In any case, I have a fresh marker here, but I bought another box. 1 second sort of a fan of the chisel tip, you know? Okay. So let's take some quick notes on what we just talked about there. So on one side, we have astronomy. And on the other side, we have astrology. And I think one of the first things we should do is just make sure that you guys are comfortable distinguishing between those two things, okay? So according to Vladimir, astronomy is what you might call a physical science. Vladimir, if we wanted to get all kinds of philosophical, technical about it, we could also consider it something called a natural science. I could talk about the difference between those two things, but I don't know if I want to go on a garden path right off the top here. And it concerns itself with the study of, well, geez, if you think about it, the entire universe is its domain. So you could do anything from stars, that's what we'll talk about a lot this semester, planets, galaxies, and even the whole bloody universe, including aliens and even human beings and squirrels and donkeys and snakes. I guess those things are all part of the universe, so we could study those. Astronomy is really a subject with an infinite domain, which is what's so cool about it. Now, astrology, as Vladimir pointed out, is more like sort of how the positions of the planets, you know, affect anything from your mood to your personality. I'll give you a better definition in just a moment. You know, let me just give you guys a second to catch up to me. Sometimes when I write quickly, I write badly. So if you can't read something, just give me a holler and let me know. I've got some glare in my hair. Where is that coming from? Okay. Let me show you what I think. My way of thinking about this stuff is, I like to, you know, when I think about this stuff, I like to think about this guy here. This is what your everyday astrologer looks like, something like this, okay? And the message of astrology goes, everything's going to be great, you will be rich, okay? So this is how astrologers look. On the other hand, this is what your typical astronomer looks like. You guys know who this is? Any space fans out there who recognize this handsome mug? Okay, this is Edwin Hubble. He was a famous 20th century astronomer who discovered that the universe was expanding. Okay, anyways, the message of astronomy goes like this. The world is going to end and everyone will die when the sun enters its red giant phase. So you can see right off the bat that the message of astronomy is not as uplifting as the message of astrology. You can read about these different subjects in different kinds of magazines. Actually, no one reads magazines anymore. You used to be able to get your astrology magazine in your local supermarket magazine aisle. Today, you kids like to use the CoStar or whatever the hell you do, you know, your daily CoStar readings. And you can learn all sorts of things about balancing your mind and your body and your spirit. And then Uranus moves into Pisces and Mercury moves into Gatorade. Expect the unexpected, okay? So who knows what's going to happen? Well, the astrologers do. They'll tell you. On the other hand, if you want to read about astronomy, you're going to have to find something a bit more crunchy here. You're going to have to look at a magazine like Science or Nature or the Astrophysical Journal. This is what we call a peer-reviewed journal. Now, there is a difference. There is a different threshold for publication, okay, between this magazine on the left and this magazine on the right. To get an article in astronomy published in a magazine like Science, you have to do something, okay? You can't just make it up. You have to go out to your telescope, right? And you've got to collect some photons with your telescope, and then you've got to analyze them with a computer and test a hypothesis. And once you're done, you write up your report. You then submit it to a body of enemy professors who are out to get you. And after they've looked through your paper very carefully and they've decided, well, this theory is clearly misguided, but there's nothing technically wrong with the research, then they will allow you to publish your crazy article in Science, okay? That's the threshold for this. That's a peer-reviewed journal. The threshold for Dell Horoscope, I'd imagine that you kind of show up to your editor's office in some robes with an energy crystal on your forehead and you say, bro, I'm just like mad in touch with the stars. And then the guy goes, you know, the cigar chomping editor says, 29 cents a word. I love it. Your deadline's Monday. And that's the publication for CoStar, Dell Horoscope. CoStar was literally invented by a bunch of hip 20-year-olds who make money off other 20-year-olds. Anyways, you can read about it. Don't take my word for it. These two things ain't the same thing, right? And yet people get them confused all the time because they seem to have some commonalities. This is what's called your horoscope. You guys know all about this, and I know about it because you told me about it when I used to go to bars before COVID-19 happened. People would say, what's your sign, you know? And I would say, Vulpecula, okay? That usually ends the conversation right there. No one wants me to be a Vulpecula. Anyways, these signs, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, these are real constellations that rotate around the nighttime sky throughout the year. And you can actually see the constellation Taurus. There's a beautiful red star called Aldebaran in it that I love very much. But there are way more than 12 or 13 constellations on the sky. Hey, Andrew, taking my 1010 class, do you have any remembrance of how many constellations there are on the sky? Or anyone out there think they know how many constellations exist in the celestial sphere?
Oh, I don't remember.
Here's a, try not to break it. Okay. Here's a model of the so-called celestial sphere. We'll be developing this in our first set of lectures. If you think about the Earth, you can only look out in so many directions. You can kind of look out in any direction surrounding this 4-pi Stradian sphere, if you know what I'm talking about. Probably not, but anyways, you can look out in only so many directions, and the entire sky is covered with basically a blanket of 88 different constellations that humans kind of all recognize and identify. So there are 88 total constellations on the nighttime sky. For instance, Vulpecula, one of my favorite constellations. But the astrologers only seem to care about 13. Isn't that so limiting? Of 88 constellations to choose from, astrologers only seem to be interested in 13 of them. Why do they have such a limited, well, I wanted to say worldview, but it's really outside the world, right? Why do you think those constellations matter so much? Does anyone know? What did CoStar teach you anyways? Why these 13? Why not Camillo Pardalis? Why not Ursa Major? Why not Orion? I'm just curious if you guys know anything, you know. Hey, this class costs $550. I think y'all gonna get your money's worth. What's
I don't know about the 13th, but the 12 ones, it matters the month you were born into. That determines your.
Okay, so let's think about this a little more, Vladimir. The month, but how do they associate a constellation with the month?
The days.
How do they associate it with the day? You're missing one.
Actually, it's not precisely the month. I think it's like more of a period. Say from March 7th to.
No. Okay, but it's okay. You're still missing something. Let me show you what's going. Let me show you why the astrologers worship those 13 constellations. It used to be 12, but now it's 13. The whole thing, the key component that you're missing is these are the constellations through which the sun moves over the course of a year. It's where the sun is traveling on the sky. Now, I ain't talking that like daily motion of the sun. We're going to have to get some things straight. We're going to have to learn some stuff in these first few lectures, how to talk to each other. When I talk about the daily motion of the sun, you ever heard the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west? That's the daily motion of the sun, and that's called the diurnal motion of the sun. And you probably already knew this from life or something, but the daily motion of the sun is actually a reflection of Earth's spin, right? But as Earth travels around the sun, as it orbits around the sun throughout the year, the sun appears projected against particular constellations. Because the orbit of Earth is sort of a disk that keeps its orientation, because this circle kind of stays the same, the sun is always traveling projected through these particular constellations. And ancient people attributed some importance to those constellations because, you know, if you were some Mesopotamian corn farmer, the sun is like your freaking energy god, right? It's Ra or Helios in his chariot going to the sky. You depend on Ra for sunshine to make your crops grow. So he's got to be like Jesus himself, right? And so the sun is your energy god. And if the sun is traveling through these 12 constellations, those constellations must be special. And if the sun is in Virgo on your birthday, well, then you must like Wheaties, okay, or something like that. So, okay, let's write down the central premise of astrology. I think that would be a good idea. I want you guys to understand what this is, okay? So the premise of astrology, goes something like this, okay? The location of the sun I'm going to draw a line here because I don't want any of this stuff to affect that stuff. That would be terrible. The location of the sun against the background stars and here's the real kicker, which Vladimir pointed out. It's on your B-Day. Location of the sun against the background stars on your birthday for non-native English speakers will affect your personality type, and not only your personality type, but and or your destiny. So, for instance, if the sun was located in Pisces on your birthday, then you like water slides, right? But if the sun was located in Cancer on your birthday, then you like crab cakes or something like this, okay? So the difficulty with, so as I mentioned before, okay, Vladimir, it was nice to see you too. Join us anytime you can. Look for if you want to watch the video with your classmates from this semester, I should have it posted by 3 p.m. Well, maybe 4 or 5 p.m. It takes an hour to render the video. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Science. Astronomy is a science, right? Astrology is different because astrology isn't, people think that astrology is a religion, but religions tend to deal with the metaphysical world. Science deals with the physical world that you can taste, touch, smell, and observe, right? If you can observe 12 turtles on an island, then you're doing science because the turtles and the island by Amber are part of the natural world. Religions like Hinduism or something, they deal with metaphysical questions like, where does your soul go when you die? Or is it moral for me to choke my neighbor's dog if he barks at me? Like, these are the questions that religions need to answer, okay? But they're part of the metaphysical world. Astrology exists in this crappy neither world because they make predictions about the natural world that are not true. Okay, so this is what happens. So for instance, the sun is a physical object. It exists in the universe. And if you've ever heard of this thing called the Parker Solar Probe, probably not, but we could talk about it. We actually have a probe that's on a journey to fly through the outer atmosphere of the sun. That means this will be the first time that humans have kind of tasted the surface of a star. That'll be kind of cool if you think about it. They're going to sample plasma particles from the sun, which is wild. The sun is a physical object. Stars are physical objects that we can observe. Your birthday is a fact. You can just look at your driver's license and there's your birthday. And your personality type, well, you know, there is a noble science of psychology that attempts to understand the human condition and decide what kind of personality you have. This is one of the goals of, well, actually, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm just not a psychology person, a person who does that thing. So I don't really know if, you know, they don't use Meigs-Breyer's personality tests, but in the old days, you'd fill out a questionnaire and they ask you, do you like puppies or do you like kitties? And then depending on your answer, you could be an alpha dog or a beta fish or something like that. But I don't think they use those Meigs-Breyer personality tests anymore. They do try to come up with some general rules about the human mind and how people perceive and interact with each other. But in any case, that is a science as well. And it turns out, believe it or not, my friends, there is absolutely no relationship whatsoever between your birthday, where the sun was on your birthday, and your personality type. If you actually go out and do a sample of like 1,000 or 2,000 people, and you compare their zodiac sign to some kind of measurable personality type or their destiny, turns out it doesn't actually work. It's all just snake oil, okay? And you either have to do this yourself or you have to read the papers of people who do this. And if you think about it, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's probably more than 12 or 13 personality types on planet Earth. People are just not that simple, as you all know, just from living your lives. Of course, they try to mix it up a bit. This would get boring pretty quick. So then they add your moon sign and whether, you know, Mercury was in the second house of Virgo or some crap like that. But it turns out if you actually study people's sun signs and their moon signs, it doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry, just because you were born on Albert Einstein's birthday, it don't make you Albert Einstein, okay? It doesn't work like that. Okay, so I don't know, you know, what we're planning on learning this semester, but I'd like us to start off by thinking about something like this. Okay, this is what we're function. Let me see here. Function F5 slide 8. Do you guys know what this is? This is a famous iconic image from astronomy. It's called the Horsehead Nebula, because of that seahorsey shaped cloud of hydrogen gas. I'm going to teach you all about this thing and what it means for the birth of stars. This is a part of our galaxy. This is a part of our universe. This is real nature. This is real reality, okay? It's not your co-star. Nature is way freakier and creepier and just more wild and abstract than you might even possibly imagine. And there's just so much of this and so little of us. This is what real reality is all about. And that's wild. We should find out what all these things are. We should learn about these giant spheres of plasma and these excited clouds of hydrogen gas. This might be something cool to learn about. And that's what we're here to do. So let's get this straight. You are here to learn about astronomy, not astrology. And if you write me an email and say, "Dear Professor Britton, I'm in your Astrology 1020 class," I'm going to laugh at you and I'm going to take your email and I'm going to pretend that you don't exist, okay? So please do not make that confusion. And with that in mind, welcome to our class. Welcome to Astronomy 1020. And this branch of my course deals with stars and galaxies. Andrew took my solar system course, Astronomy 1010, last semester, and that's fun too. They're kind of similar at the beginning and then they diverge. I think someone wrote me an email and said they were in both of my classes. So if that was any of you, hi, I can't remember. That's kind of cool though when people take the book. Oh, that was who?
Bill Hadley.
Oh, awesome. Well,
I got one question about that. What you were just saying about the
yeah.
So where does Mercury retrograde kind of fall? Is that astronomy or astrology?
Well, believe it or not, wait. So can I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. Is it Philemon?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, good. So Philemon, it's actually part of both. So the astrologers have cribbed all of this stuff from real astronomy. If you went back 1,000 years, they were kind of the same discipline, and then they separated as we learned what works and what doesn't work. Science became a thing. But believe it or not, Mercury does go through a retrograde loop several times a year, or maybe close to once a year. And we are going to learn what that means. That would take a few minutes for me to explain. It's basically the way that we observe Mercury projected against the sky. You're going to need to learn some fancy vocab terms before I can quickly explain that. Mercury does go into retrograde. The difference between astronomy and astrology is the astronomers observe it, and then the astrologers take those observations and pervert them for witchcraft and snake oil salesmanship, and generally to exploit the uneducated. So that's what, not good, okay? Anyways, if you guys don't know me by now, well, my name is Brendan Britton, and I'm a professor here at CCRI. I've been teaching this course for a long time. Here's an action shot of a younger me in front of our telescope at the Margaret Jacobi Observatory, which is at the CCRI campus, and I'll probably never get to take you to this semester because COVID, okay? But it would be cool if at some point, one of my favorite parts of this class was after torturing you little kiddies with math and stuff, when I could finally take you out to the telescope and show you some cool things through the telescope. That was usually a nice bonding moment between me and the students. And I hope I get to have that with you at some point. Last semester, it just wasn't possible, but maybe if this vaccine rollout goes well and we develop enough immunity, then I can take you guys out here to the telescope on campus and we could do something in person. That would be a damn treat to get out of the house, right? I don't know about you guys. I'm starting to get a little stir crazy in here. Okay. All right, so we can talk about that. Now, I don't know many of you, but I'm hoping to learn your names. This is one of the nice things about COVID is I can like see Ian and Philemon and Brian. I can see all your names right there on the screen. So that helps me. I'll learn you over time and you will learn me. For now, here's the things I need you to have. The first is a calculator, and there's a particular model I want you to have. And the other is a positive attitude because, you know, when we eventually live in a cyberpunk universe, where I can just like plug my brain into your USB port and then I can download all the information, then that's going to be a cool way to learn stuff. But until then, we have to do the old-fashioned talking and listening thing. And it just takes a while to learn complicated things. So we have our boards here. I'm going to have you do some exercises. I got a whole plan worked out for you guys. But taking a class, although sometimes it's fun, it's just a big time commitment, and it's like, you know, it's like showing up to piano recital every day. You just have to be in it for the long haul. So I hope you guys can go the distance and show up here and do this with me. Having a set schedule is really the key to doing well in school. I didn't always understand this when I was a student, but blocking off that time as if it was church and you had to go, and just committing to that time is really the key to success. The real key to success is don't be a flake. You just show up when you're supposed to show up and you do the thing. And you have a schedule. One of the nice things about going and being here live is that there's a social pressure for us to all kind of show up and do this work together. There are students who do adapt well to watching those asynchronous courses, and some of my night students last semester did a fantastic job. But there were a lot of people who fell through the cracks, and I want to try to save as many of you as possible. So take some tips from me, okay? Okay, so what was I saying? A calculator. How many of you got the message that I said about the calculators. Did any of you actually go out and buy it? Yeah.
I have it from last semester.
Andrew had his. There's kind of two versions. They're basically the same calculator, but one is in white and the other is in gray. There's the Casio Solar FX260 and the FX260 Mach 2. Sometimes it comes in pink too, if you can find it. You can get these wherever calculators are found. Now listen, I've designed this course so you can kind of maybe get away with not buying a book, and you can definitely get away with not buying a lab book, but you have to buy this. And you know what? This costs $10 or 15 at worst. So I don't think that's as bad as some other things you'd have to buy for this class. Not any old calculator will do, because I need to train you guys. And even in this live class, we've got 12 students sharing video. God knows how many trolls are hidden in the background there. There's probably like, 15 people here. And I think there's like another 90 who are going to be watching this later. So I need to have us all have the same calculator, or this is going to turn into total chaos. Can you guys appreciate that? So wait, just real quick, I actually want to train you on it today. How many people have it? Show me your hands if you have it. I just want to see what I'm working with here. Just 2, 3. I mean, I only kind of sent you the email the other day, so that's fair. But you will make a pact. If you're going to stay in this course, you will get this today. You will or tomorrow. You will have it by Thursday. Okay? You're already going to be missing out by not having this. Meanwhile, if you don't have this, you might want to use the calculators on your phone, especially if you can turn it sideways to get the scientific version. That you're going to have to stick with that today, and it's going to be awful. Okay? All right. Let's talk about what we're going to do here. Let's take a look at our syllabus. I'm going a little slower than I was hoping so far, but this is the course syllabus, one of the important documents that I give you this semester. It's got useful ways to get in touch with me. That's my name. That's the name of a course. By the way, you guys are all in one of 3 sections, section 001, 002, or 102. Will you guys please, every time you send me an email or a message or something, please say, don't just say, hey, this is Ian, I'm in your class. Please say, this is Ian from Astronomy 1020, section 002, or whatever section Ian is in, okay? You have to do that so I can keep track of you, because I have 160 students, and that's like, I don't even think you guys can understand how nuts that is, trying to keep track of 160 people. It's madness. It's absolute madness. So I won't be able to know what class you're in by magic. You'll have to tell me. You can email me here. This is my cell phone number. Since you can't come to my office anymore, I figure it's only fair if you guys, I know some of you like to, you shoot me a text or whatever, but once again, I won't know who you are when you're texting me. So just tell me who you are and I'll try to answer your questions. This is the times we're going to meet. I already kind of went through that in my preamble. The official text for this course is called The Cosmic Perspective, and you only need the version that's the stellar system component. So if any of you happen to be book readers, the book that you might want is the happy version, The Cosmic Perspective, Stars, Galaxies, and Cosmology. Now the full text, this is the full text, which some of you might get as a digital book. This has both my stellar system and my solar system components. So if you just get the cosmic perspective, you're safe. What does this book do for you? Well, it has our homework questions, although I'm going to share those with you anyways. But also it gives you other stuff to read if you don't understand my words, or if you find that what I said was not enough to teach you. If you're planning on reading the book, this could be helpful as a guide. However, you should be able to do this class just by showing up and participating, because I'm going to do the labs with you and I'm going to do the homeworks with you so that you cannot screw this up. So if you're a diligent note taker and you're not a flake and you show up to each class, you could probably get away with not doing it. When you study for the test, you're going to have really good notes. So make sure you keep a record of whatever I write down. But if you buy the book, then read it, and my lectures roughly follow the chapters, and I'll show you which ones in a second. I also use some exercises for our lab session from this Wilson Astronomy Lab Manual, but it's kind of no longer in print. They do have copies of this at the bookstore that they printed themselves. So you could get this at the bookstore for 30 bucks or something, and then all the worksheets we do will be in there. However, I have made copies of these since it's no longer in print, and I've provided them in Blackboard so that if you have a printer, or if you're good at writing on a PDF with some kind of writing tool, you could print it out like I do, and then do the work, and then scan it when you submit it. I'll go over how we submit stuff later today, but I assume that you guys have had to do that before, submit stuff on Blackboard. Usually in this class, students will just take a picture of their work. If you're the type, all right, let's say you're the type to print it out and write on the paper. Then you can just take a photo with your camera and upload the picture to Blackboard. That's cool. Another method is if you're a digital type of person, you could take this PDF. This is our lab for today, and you could find a writing tool to write on it. I don't know what writing tool you have, like 10 times 10 to the 6th power or something. So you could do something like this and then send me a digital version. So if you're not sophisticated at writing this out, a third option, which is the least good, if you don't have a printer and you're not good at digital stuff, you're going to have to write out by hand nicely and carefully that lab, write the answers down, and then take a photo of that. So that's the least good option, but that's still an option if you don't have either of those other two. And we're going to have to do that today, by the way. We have work to do today, so keep that in mind. Okay, so let me, I just got to go back to hiding the trolls here. Hide non-video participants. There we go. Okay, so let's go back to that share screen and let's check out the other sheet that I gave you. So this is the syllabus, and it's got some useful words. This is the calculator you need, the Casio FX260 solar calculator. You can get it at Staples, at Walmart, at the CCRI bookstore, pretty much anywhere calculators are found. But I think if you go on Amazon, Casio FX260, you can find it there too. Look at that, $8.99. But listen, you don't have time for like 2-week shipping because you need this by Thursday. So if you buy it on Amazon, you better use your damn Prime account, or you better shell out for fast shipping, because we need this right away for me to start training you. Is everyone clear on that? The calculator is non-negotiable. You must buy that to do this class, or you will become a pain in my ass and I will hate you, okay? I'm telling you right now. All right. Good. Let me show you the other document. The more important document is the other one that I gave you, which is the schedule. This is kind of cool because this will help us keep track of what we're doing each week. Each one of these rows here is a week in our class where we're going to be doing something. So Tuesday and Thursday this week, we have a lecture called Numbers in Space, which I'm going to start in just a moment. These are some of the things you'll be learning about. It roughly follows these chapters in the book. This is the lab that we're going to do today on Tuesday. This is the homework that we're going to do on Thursday. And then you'll turn it all in by Saturday. I'll grade it on Sunday, and we'll start our next week. Okay? So this will give you a little heads up. And then you can follow along in Blackboard by, let's go, hold on, let me get out of this. Bear with me, students. Here we go. So the homework is, the lab assignment for today is here. Lab 1, powers of 10. And I've got the PDF that you need right there. And on Thursday, when we do the homework, check out these moves. This is the homework assignment, and I even have scans of the questions, which are from the textbook. So they're from the back of the chapters, the end of the chapter questions. I've scanned chapter 1 PDF and chapter 2 PDF. I don't know if I want to download. Oh, yeah. So you can just click on those, and that you can read the questions that I assign. Let's take a look at which questions you'll be doing, just so that you guys have a heads up on what's going on there. Why can't I find my little taskbar here? Oh, it's because I'm in the slideshow. That's what's up, right? Here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm having some difficulty with my digital lifestyle right now. Okay, here we go. The questions that we're going to do on Thursday, which are due this week, are from the back of chapter 1, questions 42 and 49, from the back of chapter 2, 53, 55, and 58. So this is the part of the class where we have to talk about how your grade is determined so that you guys know exactly how I'm going to be doing that, okay? So let's take a look at, let's go back to my slideshow here, and let's talk about how this works. Excuse me. F5, 13. I'm going to skip through all this fluff. Showing up to lecture is not worth anything. That's because you paid me to learn about astronomy, and the lecture time is where I teach you what I know and what you need to know about astronomy to do this class. But you'll probably want to pay attention, especially if you don't buy a book. Otherwise, you're definitely not going to learn anything. It's going to be ugly. The times where you do earn points are when you do lab. All of the collective labs are worth 25% of your grade. So in fact, I've decided I want to take a note about this. Let's just do a quick note on your grade. So your grade is determined this way. First, there are the labs, okay? Lab collectively is worth 1/4 of your grade. So 25% of your overall grade. Each lab is worth something out of 10 points. Usually, unless you do something really awful to offend me, like miss parts of our lab, I will do the lab with you, and if you follow along and do everything that I do, you'll get a 10 out of 10. And we'll probably have something like 11 labs or something. So there might be like 110 points. So let's say you do 10 out of the 11 labs. Your lab percentage might be a 93 or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what the exact number is there. I don't know what 10 11s are, but I could tell you pretty quick with my calculator. 10 11ths. Oh, 91. Okay. Anyways, your homework, which we do on Thursdays, is also worth 25% of your grade. Each homework is graded out of 25 points. So if you do 4 of the 5 questions, you'll get a 20 out of a 25. If you do 3 of the 5 questions, you'll get a 15 out of 25. If you do none of the questions, you get a 0 out of 25. Once again, the homeworks are actually kind of tough, but I'm going to do them with you. We're going to do it as a group. It'll be like a community project. I'll make you guys read the questions, and I'll show you how you should answer it perfectly. And the nice thing about doing those homeworks is those will be really good study guides to go over when you have the test. So in fact, after that, the only place you can earn points in this class is during the 2 exams that we're scheduled to have. There will be a midterm exam, which will be big and scary, and that will be worth 25%. There will be a final exam, and that will be worth 25% of your grade. I think I should tell you now that I've designed this course. I know it can be weirdly tough to learn stuff on the computer from your bedroom. I understand that. If you guys just show up each class and do your homeworks in your labs, no matter how bad you do on the exams, I've designed it so that you'll still pass the course as long as you've done every homework in every lab, okay? So the only thing that you could do to really screw this class up is just to flake out and not do homeworks in labs, especially because if you do miss a class for some wacky reason, you could always watch the video later and get it done by the end of the week, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So you don't need to stress out as long as you're showing up. That's all you really got to do is just be here, okay? Remember, at the end of the semester, your grade's determined by a kind of numerical rubric. I add up all the points you get, and then I, get some number out of 100%. And then I apply a very gentle curve to make all the magic happen. And then boom, there's your grade. So So your grade is a collection of the labs and the homeworks and then the 2 exams. And what that means is basically the way to do this course and to do it well and not fail it is just each week you owe me a homework and each week you owe me a lab. Does that make sense? Getting zeros and those things are the only reason that people do badly in this course. So each week from now on until the end of the semester, sorry, I get to torture you for a few months and torture myself, by the way, because I have to grade those stupid things. So we're all locked in this death battle here, and you owe me a lab and homework. I owe you 2 lectures a week, and I have to grade them. And that's the death battle that we're in until the end of this semester. Okay, so that was the part of the course where I explain how everything's going to work, and I chat with you for a bit. Did that make sense, or do you want to ask me any questions that I might not have covered? Brian says good, thumbs up. Remember, Vladimir had a question earlier about the due dates. I think if you're going to be working with me live, you should probably turn them in right away. One thing I noticed that happened last semester is sometimes students would actually sit there and do the lab and the homework with me, but then they would be dying to have a bowl of Cheerios afterwards, and then they would eat their Cheerios, and then they would play the video game, and then they would forget. And then it would be the end of the semester, and I'd be like, why does Brian have so many zeros? I saw him in like every class, but I can't like put the grades in for him. You have to submit your work, right? So it's easy to forget to do something. So if you are showing up live, bam, the second you're done, upload that thing right away. And if you guys haven't figured this out now, Blackboard has a lot of quirks and hiccups. Sometimes people would submit the thing, but it wouldn't finish processing, and they would log out of their browser, and I just wouldn't get it in my needs grading section. So make sure that you get it confirmed that today for the first class, when it's time to submit, we'll do a little share screen, and I'll make sure each and every one of you have actually submitted it, okay? So we'll take an extra 10 minutes to do that at the end. All right. So it doesn't sound like anyone's got any other questions. It means it's time for us to start astronomy lecture. Is that right? Okay. Feel free to interrupt me or shout at me at any point. That's the whole purpose of this live session.
Excuse me, I got a quick question then.
Hit me, Daniel.
So I have a few other classes I gotta get to within the next like 20 minutes that I want to go get prepared for.
Are they all happening at the same time?
Yeah, so like
that sucks. I was worried about that.
So my question to you is, if we come on to these lectures every week, even if we come on to these uploaded ones, because I work on top of this stuff too, 30 hours a week. So yeah, so as long as we watch this stuff and I take in all the information.
So one of the weird things that I was in a weird quandary when I started this class. I've never been in a situation like this before, where I basically have all of this already recorded. And I didn't have to do this. I could have just, so Daniel, believe it or not, you can already watch the damn videos. Watch this. It's almost a little bit surreal, but let me, before you have to go, let's go to Blackboard for a second. I just want to show you something. In the announcements section of this course, right, I have videos from last semester, which are kind of the same. So, this lecture that we're doing right now, it's LECT0-LAB1, right? And it's pretty much the same. So I was kind of like, what do I do? Do I just give those to you and then it's done? I mean, I pretty much could have had a whole semester. I could have just graded your papers and fielded the emails, but I felt in my heart of hearts that that was wrong. And I don't know why, but I felt like I should do this and just be here with you guys. And it seems like enough of you have showed up. Now, remember, I got a rule. If less than 5 of you show up and less than 5 of you share video, you're going back to the recorded ones, okay? But so far, there's more than 5 of you who are interfacing with me. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this with you. But Daniel, not only will I post the one from today after class, so you can watch today to see your current classmates, but if you had to, you could even watch the one from last semester and you can follow along with that lab and I will be telling you what to do. So you got 2 different places to do it. And it is sad that all these professors are like having class at the same time. I was kind of worried about that. But my alternative was what? Have class at like 3 a.m.? Like that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It was a little confusing. So that's just the weirdness that we're in right now. But Daniel, you're going to be fine as long as you remember to, when you're sleepy and tired and you're eating your Cheerios after work, you have to sit there and watch the video and do the work and upload it. That's going to be the hard part. Okay. So don't underestimate how hard that can be.
And so in your homeworks, I do Thursday. And
okay. In theory, it would be nice if we did the labs on Tuesday and uploaded them and did the homeworks on Thursday and uploaded them. That's my recommendation. But because you're working 80 hours a week, you could do them on Friday or on Saturday and turn them in then too. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got a little bit of wiggle room. So let's say you have to work all night tonight. If you watch the video tomorrow and upload it, that's going to be fine. What I'm worried about, Daniel, is if you have jobs tomorrow and classes tomorrow, we're going to have a really tight schedule, okay? Students don't understand this. If you take on an extraordinary amount of work, 80 hours a week of work plus like 5 classes or something stupid like that, you need to be like master Sherlock Holmes with your time schedule. You have to work it out to a perfection and have set schedules. This is when I do my astronomy homework. This is when I do my other stuff. So Daniel, it'll be okay, but watch that video and do that project, okay?
All right. Thank you. All right, I gotta head out now.
Peace out. That was a good question for all of you, especially for the people watching later. It's okay if you don't turn in the lab today, but remember, here's my rule. Maybe I should have said this before we left. I grade everything on Sunday, and then it's too late. I cut it on Sunday. Do you understand? If you did not turn in lab 1 and homework 1 by Sunday, that's it. I'm not letting you turn in everything at the end of the semester. That's just not fair to me. That would be 168 people times 2 times 30. Like, it's just not possible. I cannot do that as a human being. So once Sunday comes, that's it. I cut it. Okay. Then you have to focus on the next week. And I should have said that for Daniel before we left. I mean it. Sunday is a hard cut for me. All right.
You actually mentioned it before. So.
Oh, good, Sabrina. Thank you. All right. I just want to mention it a lot because this is the only place where conflict can show up between me and you guys. And I'd like to avoid that if possible. Okay. Let's take some notes on astronomy. Let's start learning some stuff. Suppose I show you guys a picture. I wonder if you would know what it was. Do you guys know what this is?
Is that Orion's belt?
Not only is it Orion's belt, it's the whole damn constellation of Orion, okay? Yes, Orion's belt are the 3 stars that you see here, but he's got some shoulder blades up here. This red star is the famous great red star Betelgeuse, which will be featured in our homeworks this week. This is the great star Rigel, one of his feet. He has another foot down here. These 3 stars are the so-called Sword of Orion, which hangs from his belt. And he's got like a bow that he's holding up here, and it got kind of cropped off, but he has some arms. This entire thing is a hunter constellation. You cannot see Orion every night. You can only see Orion certain nights of the year. And actually, you probably could see Orion tonight because it's a wintertime constellation. We have to talk about how stars move across the nighttime sky. We have to be able to keep track of stars, and we just have to keep track of all kinds of kooky things in space. So I'm going to teach you today about large numbers because there's a lot of stars up there in the sky. We need a way to talk about that. And I'm going to teach you some vocabulary during this first week that we're going to use to have an intelligent conversation with each other. These are some basic things that would not be obvious unless an astronomer told you about them, okay? So why don't we start off by, let me ask you just a couple of quick questions to figure out where you guys are at. Do you know the difference between, hello, Nick, do you know the difference between the solar system and the galaxy?
The solar system are the planets.
That's
so
right.
Like Moon, Earth, Saturn, stuff like that, Neptune. And
Good.
then what was the other one that you said?
The galaxy. So for instance, you're on planet Earth, and planet Earth is one of 8 planets in the solar system. And this is just to make sure everyone understands this. The solar system consists of the sun, a big fat star, okay? And then it consists of 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. There are some dwarf planets like Ceres and Pluto and Eris. And there are some asteroids and there are some comets, and that's the solar system, okay? So the solar system, as Andrew pointed out, is the sun plus the planets.
So the galaxy is after those planets.
If you zoom out, yeah, you could think of it as after, but it's all around us, Andrew. If you zoom out from the solar system and just look at a bigger and bigger region of space, you would discover that you were one star in one solar system among trillions that exist in the Milky Way galaxy. So the galaxy is a huge collection of stars and planets and gas that are all swirling around some sort of central nucleus here. Or they call it the bulge. And there's, in our galaxy, there are spiral arms, for instance. Well, we're going to learn about all this stuff later, but I wanted you to understand the galaxy is a much bigger structure than the solar system. We live in a particular galaxy. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way. And I'm showing you an artist illustration of the Milky Way galaxy. Does anyone know why I couldn't show you a photograph of the Milky Way? I can show you a photograph of other galaxies, but I can't show you an easy photograph of the Milky Way.
Isn't it too far?
Not only too, who's talking to me right now? I want to find your face.
Sabrina. Oh, sorry.
Or are you a troll?
I was trolling for a second.
Oh, Sabrina. Okay, that's okay.
My daughter came in, so I had to pause the video.
That's okay. That's okay. We don't mind if your daughter comes in or whatever. But Sabrina, yeah, it's too far is one way to put it. We're like, you might think of it like we're like a ladybug on a leaf. And if a ladybug is sitting on a leaf, they can't see the entire forest all at once because they're inside the forest, right? So compared to the galaxy, which is like a forest of stars, we're going around one little star in one little part of the galaxy. We don't have any spacecraft that can travel fast enough for us to travel hundreds of thousands of light years outside the galaxy so that we can turn around and we can take a photo of it. We just can't do that. Weirdly, the only galaxy that we can't see well is maddeningly the galaxy that we live in. It's the one galaxy you'd really want to see a picture of is your own galaxy. On the other hand, what's kind of cool is we can see many other galaxies, and we understand now that our galaxy probably looks similar to that. One galaxy that's our sister galaxy that we believe is quite close to our own. Hold on a sec, guys. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, here we go. Is the Andromeda Galaxy. I want to show you a real picture of the galaxy because one of the fun things about astronomy is showing you guys beautiful pictures of space crap and entertaining you with the thought that this is real and it's floating out there. This is our sister galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy. Like our own Milky Way, it's a spiral galaxy that consists of trillions of stars and a collection of gas, and there's planets in there as well. So our galaxy, if we could fly outside of it, would probably actually look like this. That's actually way cooler than the picture that I showed you a moment ago. The real photos are always maddeningly beautiful, and they inspire us to want to learn about this crazy universe that we live in. I said that there were trillions of stars in a typical spiral galaxy. That's kind of a big number, and I'm wondering how many of you know what that means. How big is a trillion? How many zeros are in that number?
A lot.
Okay, yeah, but a lot's not going to see. That's not going to cut it for us anymore. We need quantitative. You know,
Well,
I'm going to tell you.
Say 10
Oh,
13
who said that? Someone said it. Where are you?
12.
Philemon, yes. 12 or Brian. 12, yes. Both of you. Awesome. One of the things that makes science different than other disciplines like art or music or I don't know, philosophy, science is concerned with measurement, with measuring things. And we'll talk about that in our lab today in a few moments. When you measure things, you start developing numbers, and numbers help you understand the world. Measurement is good. It's natural to the human condition. Unfortunately, the stuff that we have to talk about in astronomy is just so mind-bogglingly big that we're going to have to find ways of dealing with these very large numbers. So let's take, I only have time for one lesson today, a short lesson on big numbers, and let's take some notes on this. This is really important. Introducing scientific notation. Scientific notation is how we talk about big numbers. How we do big numbers in this class. And let's start off by saying the number of stars in the Milky Way. I'm actually lying a little bit. There's slightly less than this number, but I'm going to just start off by lying to you so that we develop some mistrust, okay? So it's 1 trillion stars, approximately. And as Brian and Philemon pointed out, a trillion means 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stars, okay? Probably all of those stars have planets around them, which means there are tens of trillions of galaxies. I'm sorry, tens of trillions of planets. There's probably tens of trillions of galaxies as well. This number is too big for us to use in our Casio calculator. So I want to show you guys something here. Here's the trusty calculator that you guys are all going to use with me. And watch me do this little thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And that's it. This calculator has only 10 digits available to use at one time. But this number is 13 digits long. So we could not put 1 trillion into our Casio calculators the old-fashioned way. To deal with these numbers, and by the way, this is not the biggest number we're going to use in this class. We're going to use many bigger numbers. We're going to need a set of shorthand notation that we can compact this number into called scientific notation. I bet some of you have learned this before. Let me see a show of hands. How many of you had to do scientific notation at one point? All right. So that gives me some hope. You two, how do I say your name? Terryandra? Or help me.
Me?
Yeah.
It's just Taryn.
Taryn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, Taryn. So Taryn, you've seen scientific notation too?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, hi, Marshall. Hey, okay, good. So I'm kind of telling you guys stuff that you already know, but that's a good thing, okay? So let's just review it anyways. I want to diagram out this number with you so that you understand what's up. The first thing I'd like to say is that the first number that's in the number is called the lead digit. There's only one rule for the lead digit. The lead digit has to be a number between 1 and 9, okay? So you cannot have 0 as your lead digit. Then we have this. This is the number of zeros in the number. And the way professional scientists talk about the number of zeros, they refer to the number of zeros as the order of magnitude, okay? That's a kind of literary way to say this. The order of magnitude means how big is your number? Is it of order 1,000? Is it of order million or billion? If I told you that I had $554 in my pocket, we would say this is a number of order 100 because it's got 3 decimal places, okay? So order of magnitude doesn't mean getting into the nitty-gritty of $554. It means this number is of order 100 because it's 500, okay? Lastly, we have this very important bit. This is what makes science work. This is called the unit. And the unit tells you what it is you are measuring. This is not just a random 1 trillion. It's 1 trillion stars. Units are of extreme importance in our astronomy class, And whenever we write down numbers, we will always try to include the units, or I will take off points, okay? That's going to be very, very important for me. Okay, I'm going to run out of space at the bottom, so I'm going to kind of go up to the top here. Does anyone mind if I erase this bit up here? Okay. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to use those ye old powers of 10 from some ancient math class. For instance, you know that 10 to the power of 1 is 10 times 1. 10 to the power of 2 means you multiply 2 tens, 10 times 10. You don't really need the times 1, but I put it in there for fun. 10 to the power of 3 is 10 times 10 times 10. So 10 to the power of 3 is 1,000. 10 to the power of 4 is 10,000. Because if you multiply 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, you get 10,000. Anytime you have a power of 10, you have a 1 with that many zeros after it. 10 to the 4 means a 1 with 4 zeros after it. Okay, you guys try. What is 10 to the power of 0?
0.
You would think so, but it's not. Wait, was that who was that?
It was
that
me, Cheyenne.
Oh, Cheyenne. Where is Cheyenne? Oh, hi, Cheyenne. I'm just trying to get to know all your the timbre of your voice and your faces here.
It's 10.
Cheyenne, usually we think 0 is the default number, probably because 0 is the default number in your bank account. But in algebra or in mathematics, right? 0 is actually weird. 1 is the default number. For instance, think about it like this, Cheyenne. If 10 to the power of 1 is 110 multiplied by a 1, 10 to the power of 0 is no tens, but it leaves the 1 behind. So by weird definition in mathematics, it makes sense after you think about it a bit. Anything raised to the power of 0 is always 1, not 0. That's a cool trick, okay? Take a moment to write that down, because I'm going to erase it in a second. That just be good for you guys to remember, okay?
So 10 to the power of 0 is 1 and 10 to the power of 10 is 1?
Oh,
I mean,
no,
10 to the power of 1 is 10?
Yeah. So 10 to the power of 1 is 10. 10 to the power of 2 is 100, because 10 times 10 is 100. I could see how that might have been confusing, Sabrina. So let me write it more cleanly. 10 to the power of 0 is 1.
What? Yes, please.
10 to the power of 1 is 10. 10 squared is 100. Sabrina, that's probably how I should have written it out if I wanted to be not confusing. But I was kind of trying to show you the machinery that was behind the curtain there. That's what I was attempting to do. By the way, Sabrina, if you're still there, you said 10 to the power of 10. That would be a 1 with 10 zeros after it, right? Just making sure we know that. Okay. Can I erase this little bit here? I'm doing it. Yell at me if you can.
I think I put a screenshot of it in chat.
Hold on. Don't erase.
I put a screenshot of it in the chat.
Oh, no.
Oh, you did? Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry. You need to be faster. Wait, I don't mind going slow for you guys, but I'm going to ask, can I erase? And I need you to, I know you have to take a second to unmute and stuff, but.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I'm sorry. We'll try to figure this out, okay? You guys screenshot it.
It's okay.
That's not the most important part. Here's what's important.
Okay.
Let's do the 1 trillion thing, okay?
Okay.
In scientific notation, you take the lead digit and you write it down. Then you pack your zeros into a power of 10. We have 12 zeros, so we will make it 1 times 10 to the power of 12. And then we will write our units down. Stars. That is how you say 1 trillion in astronomy class. Do not think of it as a math problem. It's not a math problem. You're supposed to write 1 times 10 to the power of 12. You're not supposed to solve it. You're supposed to just look at it, okay? That's how scientific notation works. You always have to write it out in this fashion. So this number and this number are the same thing. In order to punch these numbers into your calculator, so let's talk calculator talk for a second. On the Casio, we are going to use a key. The most important key I'm going to teach you is your Exp key. The Exp key is the scientific notation key. Exp means times 10. Basically, it means times 10. Okay? Actually, get rid of the question mark. That's just going to confuse you. So when I type this into my calculator, I do not hit times. I am going to type 1 Exp 12. And I want you to watch me do this. Ready? Sorry, it's kind of dim in here. Let me get some lights up. Guys, this might be the most important thing I show you all day, something useful. Okay, watch this. I just typed to do 1 trillion, 1 Exp 12. And that's what it displays. It doesn't show you the times 10 because calculator space is precious. You are going to see on the display this. If you see a number up there in the corner, that means times 10 to the 12. You will never, ever, ever, ever write that. You must write it out on your paper with the times 10, or I will take off points until you learn, okay? I will punish you until you learn how to do this. When it comes time to write 1 trillion, you will put the times 10 back in. You will never write this, okay? That's not okay. 1 to the power of 12 is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, 12 times. 1 to the power of 12 is equal to 1. 1 to the power of 12 does not equal 1 trillion. It'll confuse me if you write that. We're almost out of time for today, but I want to give you one more example because although most of you have seen this, not everyone has. And then, whoa, okay. So I'm going to give you guys one more example and then I'll talk to you. Usually before we do lab, usually people like to have a little 10-minute break or so, maybe a 15-minute break to have a light snack and some coffee or something. Does that sound good to everyone? Having a little pause before we do the lab? Yeah. By the way, guys, I got to say, it's so bloody hard to listen to someone talk for an hour and a half. I don't know how you do it because I'm talking and that's cool, but I know it's hard. So I deeply respect what you're going through. On the other hand, you guys can like take breaks and like do this and run away from me. I can't do that. I have to be here. So a break works for all of us. And then we'll try to do the lab as quickly and as shortly as possible. I understand what a slog this is, and I really respect and admire you for doing it. Okay.
How many pages of the lab do we need?
It depends how fast and smooth it goes. I have 3 pages assigned, but I might just have us do 1 and then talk a little bit because it's the first lab. I might, in other words, Andrew, just get the first page. That's probably good. Okay.
All right.
Before we take our break, I want to do one last exercise with you. So bear with me. Let me erase this. Oh, hold on. Was it Sabrina? Can I erase this? Was it Sabrina? Was that her name?
Yes, you can. I got
Okay.
that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's say you have a number that doesn't have any zeros in it, or very few zeros. Let's say you've got a number like 987654321 Does anyone know how to say that number in plain English? Remember the rule. You start at the left and then you put in commas after every 3. So who knows how to say that number in plain old English?
9,876,543,000.
I'm sorry, you're kind of quiet. Who are you? Who's that? Was that Brian? Brian, could you say that a little louder?
Yeah. 9,876,543,210.
Excellent. So what he said is 9,876,543,210. Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. Okay. Now, this number is confusing at first because it doesn't have all the zeros that our 1 trillion did. But we are going to treat the number as if it had zeros, even though it doesn't. First, we're going to extract our lead digit, which is the number 9. And then we're going to keep the other digits as leftover change. So I'll put a decimal point after the 9, and I'll write 8765432 I don't have to write the 0. But I'm going to pretend like all the other numbers are 0. In other words, what I'm going to do is the decimal point started off here. That was the start of my decimal point. But the decimal point ended up over here. And that means from start to end, the decimal point moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll pretend like those numbers are zeros times 10 to the 9. So I can write 9,876,543,210 as 9.8765432 times 10 to the 9. Now, normally this actually looks worse than this. But the reason this is still better is because usually we don't need to keep all of those numbers. We can just round the number off. Let me talk to you like an adult for a second. This part of the number is what is called the precision of a number. That's how carefully the measurement was taken. And in astronomy, we can often round down the precision because we don't need that many decimal places. This part of the number is the order of magnitude. The order of magnitude is sacred. You don't mess with that. The precision you can round. Okay? The order of magnitude is sacred. From now on, in our class, we will have a rule. And here's the rule. Any number, any number greater than 1 million, okay? So let me write that symbolically. Any number which is greater than 1 times 10 to the 6 must be put into scientific notation. That's a rule of thumb for our course, and I will hold you to that. I'm okay looking at 999,999. As soon as it flips to 1 million, I want it in scientific notation. That'll be good for you and for me. And before we end, I'm going to just put a table down for you guys so that you know the names of some of our large numbers. I'll do it very quickly, but let me give everyone a second to catch up here. Andrew, how are you doing? Have you got all this down? Is Andrew still here?
Yeah, I got it down.
How about Sabrina? Where's my people?
I got it.
Okay. Do you guys mind if I erase?
Yeah, you can erase.
I just want to put one more. I'm trying to find a balance between not too slow and not too fast. So you guys can give me some feedback on that, okay? Really, really fast so we can take our little break here. let's just make a quick table of common powers of 10 so that you guys, I know this will come in handy later on. So make 3 columns for me. This is the name of the number. This is 10 to the power of x. And this is the metric prefix. Okay, so I'm going to do this fast. So a trillion is 12 zeros. Oops, sorry guys, my camera wasn't angled properly. Name 10 to the power of x metric prefix. A trillion is 12 zeros, and the metric prefix is a tera, like a terabyte, okay? A billion is 10 to the power of 9. Billion is giga, like a gigabyte. A million is 10 to the power of 6, like a megabyte. And then 1,000 is 10 to the power of 3, like a kilobyte. There are many other names for large and small numbers, but just to kind of get you started here this week, these are some of the most common that I'm going to use. I will expect you to be able to speak a bit of math with me. If you see 10 to the power of 9, I want you to know that that's a billion. Like Brian was right up there. He could see the number of zeros, and he knew that it was 9,876,000,000. That was good on him. But not everyone's going to know that stuff. So, you know, this will help. All right, let me check the time here, and let me pause my video in a second. I didn't do so bad. Hey, how about that? 1:29. Okay. So I squeezed in everything I was hoping to squeeze in our first lecture. Thank you for putting up with me. At this point, we'll take a little pause. Even though we should start our lab right away, it seems like everyone could use a little 15 minutes to have some coffee or tea or something and just kind of freshen up a bit. Look, that will delay our day by 15 minutes, but it gives us a pause. What do we want? Do we want the pause, or do we want to plow through it? Talk to me, peoples.
I have the rule. My laptop kind of died, so I have to run to get my charger.
I'm sorry, just a little louder. I'm deaf from loud music.
Do you have the rule still? Because my laptop died, I had to run and get the charger for it.
Oh, okay. So the pause would work for you, Brian. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and do you still have the rule that you wrote down earlier?
Oh, yes. Okay. The rule about what about 1 million?
Any number greater than
1 million. 1 million or 10 to the 6. So Brian, one thing that will help me is I think you're sitting a little bit away from your computer, so you might want to bring your face a little closer to the microphone. Just sometimes I couldn't hear you. That's all. Okay. So
my microphone's just bad.
Yeah, Brian, the rule was any number greater than 1 million, which is 10 to the power of 6, must be in scientific notation.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So wait, do we get a consensus on break versus no break?
Break.
So I can't stay for the lab, but are you gonna record that part too and then post it?
Abby, I'm gonna pause during the break just so that I don't have dead air on the video. But when I start the lab, I will unpause it. So what you'll do is, if you want to watch the video from today so you can see your current classmates, you'll scroll to 1 hour and 30 minutes, and you'll find this moment in the tape, and then you should be able to just pick up from there. I'm going to try to keep the labs, I'm going to try to keep them to like 1 hour so that you guys can get on with your lives. I'm going to do my best to do that. This first one might take longer because after the lab is done, I'll probably have to show everyone how to upload it just to make sure we're all clear on that. But I'll try to keep it to 1 hour. Okay, Abby? So you only got 1 more to go. And by the way, Abby, if the video doesn't get loaded fast enough for you, you can watch the lab from last semester. It will be the same. Okay?
Okay.
So you got 2 ways to skin that cat. But Abby, don't you forget on me now, okay? I'm gonna be keeping an eye on you. You're gonna turn that in right away, okay? You promise?
I will. Yep,
All
I
right.
promise.
Thank you for being here. Okay, the rest of you, I'll pause the video. I'll have a cup of coffee and a snack, and then I'll see you in 15 minutes. Okay,
Mr. Britton.
Samantha, that's okay. You watch that video later.
Mr. Britton.
Everyone else, I'll see you in 15.
Don't forget to start the recording.
Yes. Welcome back, astronomy students, to our lab portion of this course. We're about to do Lab 1, Powers of 10, and I was just gaming out with the class here how we're going to go about doing the lab. Some of us have a printer, and some of us have printed out Lab 1, and others of us are trying to figure out how we might do it alternatively if we do not have access to a printer. Now, brute force method, Amy and Brian and Marshall, is worst comes to worst, you could take a notepad and you could write out the problems, which will be annoying, but you could do that. Andrew's done that before, right?
I'm very used to doing that.
Okay, so that works too, as long as you have the questions so I know which question you're answering. If you wanted to try to do it the fancy digital way, let me show you some things. Brian, I attempted to turn, hold on, let me kill some stuff in the background here. It would be really helpful if you guys had the damned Casio, but I know not everyone's got that. Let me just get rid of a few things here. Okay, so let's go over to Blackboard, and you go to lab, and I do have a document of this as well, which I could add to it, but it turned out and it came out very messy. I want to talk about this. Let me see if I can go to those labs here. Astronomy, 1020 lab. So I tried to turn the document into a Word document, but it came out really messy. Like the first couple came out okay, but down here with the division bar, it came out real ugly. I could try to upload that too. Listen, if any of you are planning on doing your homework using a Microsoft Word, it is imperative that you use an equation editor to type out your math. So I don't want to see anyone writing 1 times 10 to the power of 6. That's garbage, and I can't read that way. What you have to do is use your equation editor, which is really easy. And if you can't handle this, then you can't handle typing it up. You go to Insert, and then you insert equation, and it's kind of fun. You can make things look real nice here. 1, there's your time symbol. Use your powers of 10. 1 times 10 to the power of 6. You've got to go through the effort and make it look all snazzy, okay? Unfortunately, when I auto-converted to a Word document, not all the things came out nice. So I could upload this too, but it might not be so great. Probably a better way to do things, Brian, although I'm willing to upload this, don't save, is to take the PDF. And I think you can write on the PDF. What's the easiest way to do this? So I think you can access some programs through My CCRI. Wait, is it My CCRI? Or no, you go to your email. And do you guys see these dots up here? These dots are for App Launcher. These 9 dots. And I think what you'd want to do is use, one of the students told me that one of these apps is better than the other. We want like a drawing app. We could try Word, we could try Whiteboard, or let's try OneNote. Let's see what happens if we use OneNote. I've never really done this before, but I'm gonna try it. Okay. And can I open something? I really should know what the hell I'm talking about before I try to do this. There was some project, there was something that students said I could use. Whoops. Okay, so this is, I'm already floundering here. Maybe OneNote isn't the best. Anyone who knows what they're doing, feel free to rescue me at any point here. What does someone else do when they have to do something? Drive, Outlook. You wouldn't use Word. We just need like, oh, I know. Do you guys have MS Paint? Probably if you're using, look at this. You just go and you type paint. Okay. And then I think you can open up the file in Paint and draw on it. That's one simple way to do it. So open, let's see if I can find my powers of 10. If I go to Astronomy 1020, wait, black terabyte, Astronomy 1020 lab, all files. Let's see if I can open up powers of 10. Shit. Okay.
I do know one way, Professor.
Good. Please save me. I'm floundering here.
So instead of MS Paint, like look up on your computer Snipping Tool.
Snipping Tool. Okay.
Oh, I know that tool. I used it a bunch last semester.
Oh wow. Okay. So, wait. Am I talking to? I was just talking to someone. Who was it?
Me.
Oh, Marshall. Okay. So, so just do I type Snipping Tool? Oh wow.
Yep.
Damn, you're good. Now what do I do?
Click New.
Okay.
And then hold your left mouse in the top left corner and drag over the spot that you want to.
And then you could just
pick.
crop everything out.
Whoa.
And then you can use a pen and write down the stuff.
You're a bloody genius. So we're going to need this first page. You are the shit. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay. So thanks to Marshall for showing us how it's really done. I should have asked you guys. So Snipping Tool and New. And now I'm going to snip this whole bloody thing. Boom. Actually, let me try that.
And now you can draw on that.
Wait. Let me try to make sure we get the name. Let me try that one more time. I'm going to just zoom out even a little more. And now I'm going to try that again. So Snipping Tool, New, and I'm going to bam. Okay, and then we can draw on it, right? Very cool. And we draw on it with this?
Yep.
Oh, damn, you're good. Okay, so guys, look, I don't want to have to do this every time. I want to know that you guys can handle this. Paper, digital, or copy the things, okay? This is the first day, so we're all figuring some stuff out together. I do want to be sensitive that not everyone's got a printer though, so I get it. Okay, here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to walk you through, we're going to need our calculators. If you have your Casio, bust it out. If not, follow along with your phone. In this first exercise, we are going to attempt to practice using our Exp key to put some numbers into scientific notation. Okay, I'm going to attempt to use my phone as a remote camera so that we can kind of look at the document. It's not like a really awesome system, but it kind of works. So just bear with me here. I have to turn on my Wi-Fi. And I'm going to take out this paper clip. And I'm going to try sharing screen to my phone. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's making me install the plugin again. Somehow I have to install the plugin every time, but it doesn't take long. Okay, and now I will. So hopefully I won't get too many embarrassing text messages during this process, but okay. Can you guys see this? It's not like super great, but it kind of works. First thing that you got to do for me every time, let me see if I can adjust the lighting here. Okay, here we go. I need you guys to put your name up top. Oh, please try to use pencil. I'm using pen right now, but I don't want to be doing that. Let's use pencil in case we have to erase, okay? Pencils are cheap. I got one here. Good to have a pencil, eraser, maybe a protractor and a compass and a ruler. Okay, I need you to put your section so I can track who you are. For instance, let's just take Marshall for a second. Marshall, which section are you in? I need you to write, everyone will write AS1020. And Marshall, what's your section? Do you
That's a
know?
good question.
Does anyone know their section? I kind of need you to know
I
that.
know my section.
It's 102.
Who said that?
Cheyenne.
Wait, who? Cheyenne?
It's Cheyenne.
So Cheyenne's section is 102, so she would put 102. But other people might be in section 001 or 002. I could look you up, but with a ton of people here, that'll be really annoying, okay? So put whatever your section is. Now, let's look at our first problems. In 1A, we're being tasked with multiplying two numbers. One of them is in scientific notation. The other is not. The most important thing to remember is that when we do scientific notation, anytime you see times 10, we are instead going to simply hit the Exp key, okay? That's how we're going to be doing things here. So let's give it a shot. All we're going to do is practice using the Exp on our Casios. So we have 2.0, so we'll just type 2.0. And now we're going to hit this times. And then when we get to this part, we're going to type Exp instead of times 10 to the 5. So we're going to do 2.8. And then times 10 is Exp 5, and then equals. If you have a calculator, I want you to all show me what you got. Hold it up to the screen, just like this, so I can see that you're getting it right. Andrew, you got it. Anyone else? Because you all don't have calculators. Do you see how important it is to have calculators? Without the calculators, we're useless, okay? Does anyone else have a calculator besides Andrew? This sucks. Okay. Well, this is going to be kind of a stupid lab. Please use your phone calculator. You should practice this with me, okay?
Excuse me?
Yeah, Brian.
Online, there's a calculator the same as the one that you have right now that you could use.
Can you show that to me? Can you send a link to the chat or something?
Yeah.
Is it the exact same?
I don't know if it's the exact same, but it has everything that you're saying it has.
Okay. Yeah, some of you have other ones. In general, I want you to use the Casio, but okay, it's got an Exp. I like this. Does everyone see that link? Maybe you can try to follow along with that. That's pretty cool. Hey, Brian, you rule. Thank you. I'll be sure to include this in the video notes later.
No problem.
Okay, thanks for the help, guys. Takes a village, right? Okay, so let me go back to my iPhone. Let's see if I can get it back here. Sometimes it gets mad at me if I log in and out. Okay. Come on. Yes. Okay. So everyone should see this on their calculators. Okay, let's pick a person like Mariah. Mariah, you with me? Now, in general, the rule in our class is any number bigger than 1 million must be put into scientific notation. But Mariah, today is a little bit different. Today, I want to put all of my answers into scientific notation to practice using scientific notation. So you're up. How would I put this number and express it in scientific notation?
Would it be 56 times 10 to the 4th power?
Believe it or not, Mariah, that's not wrong. That's okay. But today what we want to use is, so let me just talk about what Mariah said there. Mariah, indeed, 56 times 10 to the 4th is not wrong in any way. But for the purposes of today's exercise, we want to try to get a single lead digit with a decimal point after it. In other words, we want all of our answers to look like one lead digit with some change after it times 10 to some power. So how would we do that if we wanted to have a single lead digit between 1 and 9?
Would it be 5.6 to maybe the 5th?
Times 10 to the 5th. Exactly so. Nice.
Okay.
So let's write that down. So we have 5.6. This is what we would call proper form of scientific notation. I want to stress that your original answer was not wrong, but today we're practicing proper form as an exercise. Once it's time for homework, you can play some reindeer games like that, okay? Nice. Thanks, Mariah. You did a great job. All right, let's look at the next one. You guys can see that there's a negative here. I want to talk to you guys about negative exponents. You probably forgot this in math, but negative exponents can be used for really tiny numbers. Like, look at this number. 0.000234 is an annoyingly tiny number. I can use powers of negative 10 to my advantage. 10 to the power of minus 1 actually means 1 over 10 to the 1, which is, of course, 1/10. And as a decimal, 1/10 is 0.1. Likewise, 10 to the minus 2 actually means 1 over 10 squared, which is 1/100th, and 1/100th is 0.01. Notice that every time I raise 10 to a power, I sort of move the decimal place one more place to the left, and I get a smaller and smaller number. 10 to the minus 4, you guessed it, 0.3 zeros, and then the fourth digit is a 1, okay? When we type in negative keys, we should not use the minus sign, but we should use the negative key, plus minus. So let's try this next one together. So we see 5.6, okay? So I'm going to type in my guy 5.6. And then I'm going to do times. And now I'm going to do 6.725, 6.725. And then I'm going to hit my Exp key. And then you can see it calls for a negative key. So I'll do negative and then 6. And then I'm going to hit equals. That's the answer you should have on your calculator. How shall I write this down?
(3.766 times 10 to the negative 5th power.
Sounds good. Later on, we'll discuss rounding, but for now, we're just kind of practice using the Exp key. Thank you, whoever you were. That was very helpful. Oh, when we get a final answer, sometimes a cute thing to do is to box it. That'll be helpful when we're doing the homeworks. That kind of tells the reader that that's your final answer. That can be kind of a classy thing to do. Okay, let's just crank out the next one here. 3.7, so let me just kind of get to it. We're not gonna delay this any more than necessary. We're just gonna practice. By the way, one of the points of these exercises, I can't stress this enough, guys, you will only get better at this if you are doing the punching yourself. Unfortunately, watching me is not very good for you. I know today's the first day and not everyone had their shit together. Fine, then you're gonna have to watch me. But I'm telling you, going forward, you want to practice and do these things at home, or you're not going to grow and get stronger. So I can't stress enough how important it is to have that calculator, okay? Okay, so let's do this together. So 3.77 EXP5 times 4.8 EXP3. Equals. Okay, let's grab someone else. Ian. Ian, could you help me put this number in scientific notation in proper form?
Sure. So would it be would it be 18?
Hold on a second. We need a lead digit, Ian. What's your
So it'll be 1.
All right, so we'll start with 1.
Okay.
Put a decimal point after it.
Yep.
Okay, keep some change, buddy. How much change you want to keep?
So it would be 8,096.
8096 is fine.
Yeah, 8096. Sorry.
Okay.
And then it would be times 10 to the, is that the 5th? 10 to the 5th?
No. Your decimal place starts there, but it.
Oh, so it would be -5.
No, it's positive.
Oh, no.
It's a big number. But what you got to do is you got to count the bouncing ball here. So
1, 2,
whoop,
3.
hold on, my screen went blank.
Okay.
I have a timeout on my phone.
That's okay.
Sorry. Don't cheat. Don't look at my password. Okay, ready? So let's try that again.
All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it would be 1 to the 9, 1 to the 9.
10 to the 9th.
10 to the 9th, right?
Yeah. And that's how we do that. Okay. So that was a nice little practice sesh there. Remember, when in doubt, Ian, you look for your lead digit, keep some change, and then count how many times the decimal place moves. Okay. So
Cool.
let's do that.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's do that next one together. So everyone see that? That's our man. Okay. All right. So next up is 5.29 EXP3, 5.29 EXP3 times 6.8 EXP -7. EXP -7. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Marshall? Marshall, are you with me? I think Marshall's like on planet Zarkon. Okay. Philemon.
Yeah.
What should I write?
Well, I'm trying to do it on my calculator.
Okay. How about Nick? Nick, you got thoughts? Oh, Philemon, do you have a Casio?
I had that other scientific one, so I don't know if
What other scientific? What, are you cheating on me with a dirty calculator?
Oh, no, the calculator. You know, the kid just did the HT. I just grabbed that one. I don't have the Casio, so I just took that link that he showed us.
I see. Okay.
But what it keeps on doing, for what I'm getting confused with, is I'm hitting 5.29 times 10, and then I hit EXP, and then it goes times 10 again. So I don't know if this is working right for me.
I don't know. See, this is why we all want the same calculator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm just getting the wrong numbers at this point because of that. I'm not.
Can I try? I think I got it.
Oh yeah. Who are you? Who's talking to me?
Sabrina. Oh, sorry,
hey.
Mike. I'm trolling again. Hold on.
Okay. Sabrina, hit me. What do you got?
Is it 3.5972 times 10 to the first power?
Not first. It's times 10 to the third power.
Third.
10 to the minus third.
Oh, okay.
So 3.5972.
I have a question, but I might be very wrong.
Okay. Mia, hit me.
So because it's a negative number, are we taking the decimal point 3 places to the left, and then you would get 0.00359772?
Mia, one reason you're overthinking it is if the calculator displays it with a number up here, it is already in scientific notation and you can leave it that way. I think your question would be better if you asked it in a different way. Your question should be, what does that mean? If I have 3.5972 times 10 to the minus 3, you might be worried about what that means in not scientific notation, right? And that would be, let's see, it would mean that 3 goes in the third decimal place after the 0. So it would be 0.2 zeros. The third one is this 3. That's the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th one. Now this number means this, but because they already put it on our calculator in scientific notation, and because our exercise is to get the number in scientific notation, we can leave it in scientific notation. Okay, Mia?
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter. But yes, I think it would be good if you can translate between this and this.
I figured it was worth a shot. I figured.
Yeah. So I just, the problem is your question required me to say 2 different things at once. One thing was it doesn't matter because it's already in scientific notation. The other thing was it totally does matter, and that's what the number would be.
Sorry.
It was a confusing answer on my part, okay? All right, let's move on. Here we're going to practice some division stuff. Okay. So 9.65 exp3 divided by 2.0. Equals. Now our number is 4825. Sabrina, do you think you could put that into scientific notation for me?
Would that be 4825?
Wait, we need a lead digit. What's our lead digit?
Oh, I'm sorry. 4 is the lead digit. So 4.
Yep.
Point. Oh, I can't see the numbers. 4. Was it 825?
Yes.
825 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3 to the 4th power.
Careful. Your decimal place starts here, but
Yep.
it's stopped in between the 4 and the 8.
Oh, so to the 3rd power then.
Excellent.
Okay, okay.
Times 10 to the 3. And we'll box that up.
I was confused because of the negative and between the last one, I guess, because of the negative.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while to get comfy with this, but remember,
Okay.
one way to look at it is the negative is just something that you punch into your calculator. But
Yep.
when Mia was trying to figure out what it means, the negative means you start with a 0 and then the lead digit is in the 3rd place. So in other
Okay.
words, you'd have to move the decimal place 1, 2, 3 to get
On the
3.
opposite. Oh, so you're going the opposite direction. And
Yeah,
okay,
negative
I get
means the decimal place is moving in the opposite direction. Okay.
Okay.
Since we had a big number here, since we had a number of order 1,000, we had to move the decimal place 3 times. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's try out that next one. 5.6 exp5 divided by 1.6 exp5. How would I put this number into scientific notation? Brian, do you?
The lead number is 3.
The lead
It's
number?
already in scientific notation, right?
Yeah.
3.5.
I'm sorry. What was that, Brian? Did you have something to say there? Say that again. Oh no. Who said something to me?
It was me, Hunter.
I'm
Hunter.
gonna mute.
Wait, I'm looking for Hunter here. Where's Hunter?
I have my video off my bed.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, hi, Hunter. Hunter,
Hello.
you said it was already in scientific notation, right?
Yeah.
But I want to beef with you here just a teensy bit. It's partially in scientific notation because you have a decimal point after your lead digit. In that sense, you're right. But remember, all scientific notation needs to have that, but then the times 10 stuff. So what are we going to do about the fact that there's no times 10 there?
It's just to the 1st power.
Aha, and that's not correct. Because remember, Hunter, 10 to the power of 1 is 10.
Oh, yeah.
3.5 times 10 is 35, but you don't have 35. A better way to look at this, Hunter, is to ask, how many times did you move the decimal place? The decimal place started there, and it ended
0,
up.
so it'd be 10 to the 0.
Very good. That's right. So 10 to the 0 means the decimal place does not move. And that proves that we can put any number into scientific notation. Nice. Okay, let's try this next one. 3.2 times 10 to the 9 over 2.4 times 10 to the 5. And let's use our Exp key here. So we have 3.2 exp9 divided by 2.4 exp5. Look at that mess. Okay, Nick, what do you think we should do, Nick? Oh, Cheyenne, you want to take a crack?
Oh, I had to unmute myself. The one thing I'm a little confused about, would it be 1.3 repeating x to the or 10 to the 4th power times 10 to the
Very good, very good. All right. First of all, this is going to lead to a bigger discussion, Cheyenne, okay? So Cheyenne, you are correct that it's 10 to the power 4 because the decimal only moves 1, 2, 3, 4. So what Cheyenne suggested is we write it as 1.3. Remember this from math class? Repeating times 10 to the 4. Cheyenne, this little bar that you used to put over in your math class means infinite threes, just 0.333 forever. And that was fine when you were doing math with your, does anyone know what I'm talking about, the little bar here?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. They used to say it's infinite threes, so threes forever.
Yeah, it means a repeating decimal.
Yeah, that's fine if you're a mathematician who doesn't have any real work to do. But guys, welcome to science. Science doesn't have infinite threes because science is based on measurement. And measurement is a dirty job done by dirty little people and their dirty little tools like this here ruler, okay? Let me introduce you all to the metric system. We're going to, in general, try to work with things like centimeters, which you can see here, okay? So I have centimeters. These little tick marks that you see, those are millimeters. So that is 1 millimeter, that's 1 centimeter. There are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. Whenever I do a measurement, there is always a quality to the measurement, which is known as the precision. And sometimes you could think of the precision as just being limited at first blush by the number of little tick marks that you have on your ruler. For instance, this ruler is graded to the nearest millimeter, or the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter is another way to put it. Because if 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, then 1 millimeter is 1/10 of a centimeter. If I take a measurement with this ruler, that measurement will probably have a tolerance. It will have a tolerance of 1/10 of a centimeter, okay? And when I take these measurements, there is a limit to how good the quality of my measurement is done. And I can explain that. And one of the reasons we're only doing 1 page today is so I can explain some of this stuff to you. Let me just check the time here to see what I got to work with. The time is currently 2:22. We're doing okay. I'd like to finish this before 3 for sure. Okay, so, all right. Let's say we were going to take a measurement of me. I'm a human being, and human beings tend to be close to 2 meters tall. Okay, so I'll try to set this up. Here's me. I'm going to get myself a meter stick, or a couple of them. Okay. First, let me introduce you to a meter stick. It's kind of like a yard, but it's better than a yard. Because a meter stick, also measured in centimeters, has, check this out, it starts, sorry, I gotta get this right. It starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters, 50 centimeters, 60 centimeters, all the way up to 99.9, and that's 100 centimeters. So a meter is 100 centimeters. Now, I am clearly taller than a meter. You can see a meter goes up to about my belt on my jeans, okay? So if you're close, as my ex-girlfriend likes to point out, I'm not exactly 6 feet. I'm only 5'11". Okay, anyway, so if you're close to 6 feet tall, then your belt goes up to about a meter. And what if we had a task to do, which was to measure the height of the professor? Okay, I'm looking at you. So we're going to be asked to measure the professor, but we don't want to do a lazy job. We want to do a good workman-like job. And since our ruler is graded to the nearest millimeter, do you see all those little tick marks there? Those are all millimeters, which is 1/10 of a centimeter. So I'm going to attempt to measure myself to the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter and do a good workman-like job. So watch me do that. First, I'll add up to 100 centimeters, which goes up to my belt. And then I'll make sure I start at 0. Let me try to angle the camera up here so you can, there's a lamp in the way. Okay, so this is still an imperfect art form, so bear with me.
You can still see you in the other camera too.
All right, that's good. So I've got the ruler up here, and to try to get the best estimate of my height, I'm going to kind of take this across, and I'm going to go to my nearest little black tick mark, and I got 180.3 centimeters. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, so I've got a tale to tell you. Just bear with me, okay? So let's start in a fresh paper so we have fresh eyes here. I just took a measurement of the professor's height. And when I took a measurement of the professor's height, I got an answer which was 180.3 centimeters. And I want you guys to meditate on this number here. Remember, in reality, all numbers are ultimately measurements. Every number that you've ever encountered in your life is a measurement, whether it's the number of teeth in your head, the number of pennies in your bank account, or the height of your professor in lab class. Measurements do not have infinite precision because a person actually had to take the measurement, and there's a limit to their skill and there's a limit to the quality of the tool that they're working with. In this case, I'm working with a crappy little, laboratory meter stick. However, anyone who comes along can see the quality of the measurement they could do. They could say, check out this here dude. This here dude took time to measure himself, not only to the nearest hundredth, not only to the nearest tenth or the nearest centimeter, but all the way down to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. And this is what is known as the precision of the measurement. And there's a couple of different ways to say this. One way to say the precision is that I measured to plus or minus the nearest tenth of a centimeter. Because I went to the trouble to tell you I was not at 180.2, nor was I at 180.4, but in my judgment, the closest tick mark was 180.3. Now, if I had been even crazier, I might have attempted to try to estimate the space in between the two tick marks and estimated it as 180.35, but that was a little too nutty. I didn't think it warranted that precision, okay? So one way you could say it is this number is only good to the nearest 0.3 or 0.2, the nearest tenth of a centimeter. There's another weird way to look at precision. We could also say that this measurement has a precision of 1 part in 1,000. That's how a physicist would say it. They would say that this measurement has a precision of 1 part in 1,000 because if you measure to the nearest dime out of $100, that's the same level of division as the nearest dollar out of $1,000. Basically, I divided my measurement up to 2,000 parts, and I found that I was 1803, something like that. That's how physicists talk to each other. They say, this measurement has a precision of 1 part in 1,000, if you can believe that. Honestly, guys, even if you're doing a little crappy student lab, to measure someone to a precision of 1 part in 1,000 is a pretty sensitive measurement. So sensitive, in fact, that if I were to measure myself again, slight fluctuations in the procedure would probably give me a different number. This is what is called random errors or the noise. And all measurements have noise at some level of precision. I'm betting my noise is close to the nearest tenth of a centimeter, but let's find out. I'm going to attempt to do the same thing that I just did, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm not going to make up a number. I'm just going to see what it turns out to be. So I put this guy down, this guy up. I'll attempt to measure myself the same way I just did, to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. And this time I got 179.8. That was my nearest tick mark, okay? Class, what is the truth? If truth exists, and if we are interested in the truth, just the facts, ma'am, what is the truth about my height? Am I really 180.3 or am I really 179.8 centimeters? Where are all the ex-girlfriends in the world going to take me to task for saying that I was 6 feet tall? What's the truth? Do you understand my question, or am I getting a little too abstract? I hate to get all abstract on you guys on a Tuesday afternoon.
The truth is 180.3 in some, right?
But why do you trust that number, Sabrina, over that number? What makes this number better than that? What makes this measurement better than that measurement, to put it more properly?
Wouldn't it be in a range from 179.8 to 180.3?
Well, once again, you've also made another assumption, Hunter. Why do you assume it's between these two numbers? What if I measure it? Actually could be somewhere near. It will probably be near these two numbers, but it does not have to be in between. Shit, Hunter, let's try it again. Let's see what happens. I'm curious. Now you just doggone got me curious as to what's going to happen. 2 meters. Thing on my head. 180.7. In fact, Hunter, just as I suspected, you were not correct in assuming the truth was somewhere in between, because when I measured a third time, it was outside those two. It was 180.7. So now you got me really perplexed. What's the truth about my...
It's going to be somewhere, anywhere near those three numbers.
Right. So I think the idea, Hunter, is that if we had all the time in the universe, I would continue to measure myself over and over again, an infinite number of times. And then as we looked at all the infinite number of numbers, the ones that were close to each other would start to give us a better idea of what the truth was, if there is any truth at all. Clearly, I am some height. I'm not 5 feet tall and I'm not 7 feet tall. Yeah. I'm clearly somewhere close to 180 centimeters. But if you want to get down to the 10th of a centimeter precision, there are random fluctuations that the scientist in us has to battle in order to discover the truth. Okay, so obviously we all want to get on with our lives, so we don't have time to measure me an infinite number of times. So instead, we'll just measure me 3 times. And we'll assume that if we take the average will be even closer to the truth, right?
Right.
Let's take the average of these 3 numbers and see what happens. I'm going to add them up, and I'm going to hit equals, and then I'm going to divide by 3. So I'll do 180.3 plus 179.8 plus 180.7. I'm going to hit equals, and now I'm going to divide by 3. And sure enough, I get that freaking mess. Now, class, what should I write down if I'm being honest about the precision or the quality of my measurement?
It would be 180.2.
Okay. Now it's time for us to have a talk about rounding. Yeah, Sabrina, what were you going to say?
I was thinking to round it up to 180.3.
Right. So the rule of thumb goes like this. If you're going to chop the number there, then you look at the first digit that got chopped. If it is 5 or more, you increment. In other words, 26 cents is closer to 30 cents than it is to 20 cents, right?
Yeah.
So instead of 180.2, 180.3. Now, how did you know to make that judgment? How did you know that this was the proper number of digits to round to, Hunter?
Well, because you usually round to the 10th place.
No. In science, you can round to any old freaking thing any day of the week. The answer is because of the quality of the measurements here. If we're measuring to a precision of 1 part in 1,000, that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures going in. And that means that we can keep 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures coming out, okay?
Okay.
The measurement rounding is based on the quality of the measurements that go into it. Like, you know what? Doing math is kind of like making a beef stew. Here's the beef. here's the carrots, and here's the celery, okay? Now, let's say you go to Whole Foods because you're going to spend your whole paycheck and you get some gourmet all organic celery, and then you go to your neighbor's produce farm and you get some really fresh carrots from their garden, and then you put in some nasty rancid beef with mold on it. Do you think your beef stew is going to be high quality when you mix it all up? No, because you mixed rancid meat in with your gourmet carrots and celery. And the same is true about measurements and rounding and averages. The quality of the output is limited by the quality of the ingredients that go into it. And so in general, what you're supposed to do is find your crappiest number. That's the crappiest number is the rancid meat, okay? And then when you find the crappiest number, that limits your precision. In this case, all of our ingredients had the same quality. They all had 4 significant figures. So I got to keep 4 significant figures. And that's sort of the closest to the truth that we can find right now, okay? Which ironically turned out to be the same as my first measurement. That's just Vishnu talking to you there. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There's no, it's just a random coincidence. Okay, so let's talk about significant figures for a second, and then we're going to get back to 2C where we were a long time ago, okay? So if I write down the number 2000, the number 2000 has, in terms of sig figs, the number 2000 only has 1 significant figure because I'm only giving you information to the nearest thousandths place. And as an example, what if I told you guys I had $2,000 in my pocket, right? Maybe I had 1,099 and a quarter. But I didn't want to tell you that because that was TMI, right? That's too much information. So would I be a liar if I said that I had $2,000 and then you looked in my pocket and you found 199 and a quarter? Would that make me a liar? Not really. It would make me a person who is giving you a low precision estimate of my pocket, 1 significant figure. On the other hand, if instead I told you that I had $2,200, the fact that I said $2,200 is 2 significant figures because I'm giving you information to the nearest hundredths place, right? If I told you I had $2,222, this number has 3 significant figures because I'm telling you how much money I have to the nearest $10 bill. What if I tell you that I have $2,002? How many significant figures does that have?
1.
Nope. Nope.
Would it be 4?
4?
Yeah. In this case, all the numbers are significant because I'm telling you how much money I have to the nearest dollar. The precision of this is plus or minus $1. And this has a measurement precision of 1 part in 1,000, okay? It gets even weirder on the other side of the decimal place. What if I tell you I have $10? What if I tell you I have $10.0?
Oh.
The nearest cent?
That's the nearest dime, technically, Hunter, right?
Yeah.
So if I say 10, hello. Just waving hi to the daughter.
I sent her away.
That's okay. She can learn too. She's not excluded from the fun. Okay. 10.0 actually has 3 significant figures. If you bother putting a 0 after the decimal point, it usually means that you're measuring to that level of precision. This is just a weird rule. Like if I say I have 10.00, that's 4 significant figures because I'm going to the trouble of telling you how much money I have. It's actually weirder. I can even get this number, 0.01, has only 1 significant figure. That doesn't count, and that just got significant figures are kind of weird. We're gonna have to work on that, okay? Honestly, there are rules, and I could tell you the rules, but they're boring, and you're not gonna care, and you're not gonna listen. So I know better. I know you're not allowed to learn about significant figures yet. You have to earn that from me. Let's give this a shot here. You know what's cool about scientific notation? Scientific notation automatically gets rid of numbers that aren't significant and keeps the ones that are. For instance, Ian, if I wanted to put 2000 into scientific notation, What would that be in scientific notation?
Would it be two because your first number would be 2, would it be times 10 to the third, or would it be the
Right.
fourth?
Nope, third. Because
Yeah.
you're moving the decimal place 1.
Only
2.
3, yeah, okay.
So I want you to notice something about what you just did there, Ian. The number 2000 had one significant figure. And do you
That's
notice when you put it in scientific notation, only one figure remained over there?
Yeah, that makes
Very
sense.
cool. Now try it again, Ian. What if I had to put 2200 into scientific notation?
So would it be, so because your 2 significant numbers is the 2 2s, would it be 22 times?
Good proper scientific notation always
Oh,
has
yeah.
a digit and a decimal point, right?
Okay, so it'd be 2.2?
Yeah, 2.2 times 10 to the what?
10 to the second? Oh, so it'd be 3.
1, 2, 3 is how many times?
Right, because yeah, you're only using one digit. I got you.
Notice that this number has 2 significant figures and
Yep.
2, right? Okay, now do it again.
All right.
2020. What's that?
So would it be 2.22 times 10 to the third?
Exactly. Sorry, my camera timed out. Exactly, my brother. It's 2.22 times 10 to the third. So notice that when you have 3, you see how scientific notation is cool? This is what I meant earlier when I said that this part of a number is the precision of a number. That tells you how good the measurement is. And this part tells you the number is of order 1000, okay? That's what I was saying earlier in the class. Okay, now let's get back to the game. You've learned something, okay? Let's do 2C together again, okay? 3.2 EXP9 divided by 2.4 EXP5. Ian, let's see what you've learned. Ian, how many significant figures does the top number have?
Not 10, 11?
Nope.
Or is it only 9?
Nope.
So 1, 2.
Look
Okay.
over here. Wait.
Yep.
Sorry. How many significant figures did that number have?
2.
How many significant figures did that number
3.
have? How many significant figures does that number have?
Just the 3.2. So is that just 2?
That's right. How many
Okay.
significant figures does the bottom number have?
2.
So how many do I get to keep in my answer?
5
No.
or 2?
2. They
Okay.
call it garbage in equals garbage. Remember the beef stew analogy?
Right.
Quality of your beef stew is limited by the quality of the ingredients.
Okay.
This is your carrot. This is your celery.
Yep.
I guess we're making carrot celery stew. So how should I round this? No, don't forget about scientific notation for a second. What should I round that to if I'm going to be fair and honest with the class?
Wouldn't you just round it to 1?
No, you keep 2.
Oh, yeah. It would be 1.0 then, right?
No. This is a number of order 13,000. Hunter, I did not give you permission to molest the number. You have to be faithful about the magnitude of the number. How do I round and keep 2 significant figures? Anyone want to try this?
It would be 1.3, right? Since you're keeping
Once
2.
again, Cheyenne, you've molested the number. This is a number of order 10,000. You can't turn it. Suppose you won $13,000 in scratch tickets and you went to the lottery and they gave you $1.30. Would you be cool with that? You would be like, that's not fucking cool, because you've taken a number that's 10,000 big and turned it into $1.30. That's not fair. I'm not telling you to move the decimal point. Forget about scientific notation. I'm saying, what should I round this? How many of these 3s are real and how many of these 3s are fake? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
You keep so it's gonna round to 13,333.
That number has
You drop
5
every-
significant figures. That's too precise.
Oh. Okay.
So you're getting closer. 13,333 is 5 significant.
I got it. So
What
it
is it?
would be 1,333.
No, that number is not 1,300. It's of order 10,000. You can't turn
It
10,000.
would be 13,000?
That's how you round this puppy.
13,333.
No.
My bad. Yeah, my bad.
These two numbers are significant. Those are not. You see?
Oh God.
Look, this is going to be it's going to take our whole class to master precision, but let me tell you, understanding precision is at the heart of understanding what science is. It also trains you in a technical way so that you can do jobs that earn lots of money. I'm not wasting your time here, guys. These are the skills that employers want. You get paid big bucks to understand this stuff. I kid you not. Okay, now that we've my point here is that rounding is a separate issue from scientific notation, okay? Okay, so 13,000, now put it into scientific notation for me. What should it be in scientific notation?
1.3
times 10 to the what?
10 to the 1, 2, 3.
No, your decimal
4
point.
to the fourth.
That's right.
Fourth power.
So it's not 1.3 forever.
1.3 times 10 to the fourth power.
Otherwise known as 13,000. Very good. Right. Okay. All right, let's try one more number to make sure that you understand, and then I'll, relieve you guys of this misery here. Okay, we'll try to submit our work. Let's see if you guys have learned anything. This is going to take a while to understand, and I could have explained this in more detail, but there's going to be a limit to how much you can put up with today. I know that. Let's try doing this last one together, okay? I'm going to type in 2.99792, 2.99792, exp8, because it's times 10 to the 8, so I'll do exp8 divided by 5.520, exp negative 7, exp negative 7. And that big gobbledygook comes out. I need to know how I should round this number to be honest. That's the correct answer. So let's look at the top number. How many sig figs does the top number have?
5.
Count better.
6.
1, 2, 3,
Far
4.
away from the screen.
How many does the bottom have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. Very good, Mariah and friends.
I'm counting.
How many do I get? You count the 0 here. 4. 6 in the top, 4 in the bottom. How many can I keep in my final answer?
5. Guessing.
Is it 6?
Where's the rancid beef? Where's the rancid beef?
So 6. So 6. 1, 2, 3. 4.
No. Look, your answer is limited by your crappiest number, not your best number. Your shittiest number.
Okay.
So how many?
4 then. So 4.
4. So what should I round this to be fair?
Is it 5.431?
Yep. And don't forget about this thing. That's sacred.
So
5.431 times 10 to the 14th.
Now you guys get it. Very good. 5.431 times 10 to the 14th. That's how we play this game. That's how we round. Because this number only had 4 significant figures, only these numbers were real. All of that stuff is fake numbers. That's all fake numbers. They're artifacts of your calculator. They don't mean anything, okay? What's the takeaway? What's the moral of our story? Not every number that comes out of your calculator is real. You have to become an educated person that knows the difference between a real number and a fake number. Let's go back up here for a second. Let's see if you've learned anything. How many sig figs does this number have?
3.
How many does that have?
2.
How many should I have kept here?
2.
So what should I have rounded this to?
3.6.
Keep going. You can't throw that away. That's not fair.
6
times, yeah.
10 to
Times
the
10 to the negative there.
That's how we should have rounded. Okay, so
Sweet.
that's right and that's wrong. So you guys have just taken your first steps into a larger world of understanding precision. These issues are going to come up, and I'm going to continue to teach you them as we go. Okay. Okay, I have more to teach you but we're kind of getting to the point where we should stop. So I want to build in a little time to make sure that everyone can submit properly. Let's talk about what your goal is. For your first lab today, you will submit this page and this page only with those answers. Does everyone have all the answers that they need? Can you see that? All right, you got it all, right?
Yep.
Cool. Let's talk about how we do a submission. The goal is to take a photo, click, and then let's stop share for a sec. I actually want some of you to try to submit it and see how this goes. That's what our last few minutes are for here. Let me turn this off so I don't kill my phone. Okay, so once you take a photo, you can either email it to your computer or you can try to upload it right from your phone. I'm guessing some of you know how to do this because you've had other classes. Many of you have. But for those of you who maybe haven't, we will navigate our way to, to Blackboard. Where's my Blackboard here? Okay. And under Measures Powers of 10, you click that. I think you click that. Yep. And then you upload the file here, Browse Local Files. We have to talk about what acceptable formats are. You cannot just submit any old thing you want. I can only read .pdf, I can read .jpeg, I can read .document. I need to be able to see your work. This is an important point, students. If you upload some wacky shit that I can't read, your grade is 0 until I can grade it. Do you understand? Until I can see it. The onus is on you. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to do good or do bad, so why don't we all try making a submission right now, and you guys can see what it looks like on my end. Let's see if you guys are handling this. So let's go to Grade Center, needs grading. Let's see if anyone's gotten it submitted yet. Oh, wow. A couple of eager beathers here. Philemon, nice. And Matheus, my old friend from Astronomy 1010 is here too. He's trolling in the background. Matheus, I'm going to find you. Okay, let's click on Philemon's and let's see how it's going to work, okay? Philemon, let's see what we got. This is good. I can see his work right away, so I'm going to grade him, and I'm going to give him, not now, but I'll do it later, I'll give him a 10 out of 10. Let's check out Matheus's, see if he did good. In general, you want to be able to see it in the preview box. It takes, look at Matheus. He did a nice job. Very nice of Matheus. Okay, how about the rest of you?
I have one question.
Shoot, go for it.
I still need to figure out what section I am.
Yeah, same here. I had a question about that as well.
Okay, so the way I tell is I would go in here and like click on the stellar system. I mean, this is one way we could do it, I guess. Oh, it's a timeout issue. Hold on, I gotta log back in. You'd have to go to your schedule. Your schedule will tell you, but I might be able to look it up for you.
Oh, I see it. Here we go.
When you go to see your courses on Blackboard, it actually tells you the section you're in. So if you're like either on the app, it tells me that I'm in 1020-001.
Nice.
It'll tell you on your Blackboard too.
And if I go to my enrolled student summary of enrolled students, I can look you up too, but that's a little more irritating, right? So here we go. Like, so who do I recognize here? Mia's hanging. Philemon, you're in section 001. Michaela, Savannah, Kelly. Who else is here? Did I see Shannon earlier? I can't remember. I'm still learning you guys, so this is going to be a little new. Section 002 consists of Bays, Brooke. Who was in this class here? There's Matheus, Hunter. I don't recognize anyone else here. And then someone said they were in 102. So these are the people that are in 102. In any case, let's see how you guys are doing on your submissions here. I just want to check. All right, I got a few more people submitting stuff. Nice. Let's just check. We already did Matheus. Let's try Mia and see if Mia's looks good. I want to make sure that you guys can see what it looks like on my end. So we did Philemon, we did Matheus. They were both great. I want to be able to see that preview right away. All right, see this, Mia? This kind of sucks. This means I've got to click and open a hyperlink. Your format is good. JPEG is okay. Now I can click on it, but it takes me out of the grading thing, which is bad. So Mia, this is, I guess this is kind of acceptable, but what I want to know is why can I see a preview on theirs and not yours? I don't know why it does this. I just don't know why that happens. And I tried to figure it out last semester and I couldn't. If anyone figures it out, for some reason it worked great on the other guys. But Mia, this is better than nothing because at least I could click on it and read it. But it's irritating because I have to leave Blackboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but Mia, let's just leave it for now because I'm just getting kind of done with this day here. All right, hold on. In general, it'd be cool if we could figure that out going forward.
I think I did it on my phone instead of on my computer.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Let's see Andrew's. Well, cool. Andrew's got the nice preview. Andrew, I need one as well. Oh, there's the other one. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, you got it, buddy. Thank you. Okay,
All right.
Andrew. So you're cool. And then, all right, so does everyone sort of see what I want to see there? You get the point that I'm trying to make? I want to see that preview. Now listen, make sure that you like finish uploading it before you log out of your browser. Make sure you get a confirmation because sometimes I can only grade what shows up in my needs grading, okay? Okay, at this point, if anyone wants to ask me personal questions, I'm gonna stop the video in a second just to keep the video short and sweet. But let me say to the nighttime students and the daytime students, once I end the class, once I stop the video and then I end the class, it'll begin to render the video. So for those of you who need to watch later on, it takes about an hour to render the video and about a half an hour to load it up to YouTube. So there's a little lag between the end of class and the time it takes me. And that's just, there's nothing I can do about it. That's the time it takes to render video. So if right now it's 3 o'clock, I should have this up by about 4:30, providing I don't fall asleep or do something dumb, okay? Occasionally I do dumb, all right? I'm hoping not to. Hey, look at that little tyke there. Philemon, who's that little guy?
My baby Iris.
Iris is cute as a button. Okay, well, we like having him around too. Okay, so you guys got the drill, right? I'm gonna stop the video now just to keep my file size, by Matheus, just to keep my file size small, but I'm gonna stick around in case any of you have personal questions. So this ends our lab 1 for the day.